The history programs that are available at DVC, the one big one is the associate's degree for transfer, and students do the regular 60 units at DVC, and then they integrate the emphasis on history. So we have a really wide variety of history courses, I think probably more than any community college in the state. So we have women's history, California, US history, African American history, colonial Latin America history, Mexican American, I mean, it just goes on and on. So our program is diverse, which allows students to pick and choose, their own interest, and then boom, you go and you transfer to Cal or state, or to get that job, that you're really interested with a career interest.
We celebrate an engaging and active classroom here at DVC. Taking History 125, students will gain the knowledge about Mexican Americans in the U.S., their struggle and their efforts to improve the lives of their people. For a long time, Mexican Americans were treated as second-class citizens until many Mexican American men and women organized and said enough is enough, ya basta, and demanded for change. Mexican Americans have been vital to the economy of the United States, in particular to that of the Southwest. In regards to History 135 and History 136, students will gain knowledge of the complexities, diversities of Latin America.
So I'm a history major, so I really enjoy learning about history. But I think one thing that I like about this class in particular is all the reading assignments. I know some people would probably disagree with me, but I really like reading and learning more about the history, and this one's history of the United States from the Mexican American perspective, so we're doing some background right now, and I just really like learning about all the background and what led to where we are now.
I didn't really know too much about my history being a Latino. Here in the States, my parents never really taught me much about our history, so taking classes like these really helps me understand where we're from, where my parents are from, maybe some of what they might have experienced in their home countries as well, since I didn't get told any of those things by them.
My goal is that students become active participants in their community. This is where action begins. Taking History 125, students learn about many Mexican American Chicano civil rights leaders that fought for equal opportunity and rights for Mexican immigrants and Mexican American Chicano peoples. I find that students are shocked when I teach them that Mexican Americans had to pay a poll tax to vote, couldn't participate in jury duty, lived in segregated neighborhoods, also had segregated schools. If it weren't for the action of these early leaders, what would the situation be for Mexican Americans?
So I just started college, right? I was in the military for 4 years, and I've never done an online class before. It's my first semester where I have an online class, and I have in-person classes, and I like this much better. I learn better, and to be honest, when it's online, right, you get to procrastinate a lot. It gives you a lot of excuses and gives you ways to just ignore delving into the nitty-gritty of the class.
California history is a really fun class. It's adventuresome. So we get to talk about different places in California and different people. So it allows for a lot of diversity of perspectives. I like students to go out into nature, out into urban areas, places to explore that they've never been before, like go out to Marin and see the Point Reyes Lighthouse and the Tamaulipas Bay Regional History Center, and go out hiking, enjoying the beautiful weather that we have, and you get more invested in the state and you want to be a part of the place where you live.
Decided to take a history course on California history, and ended up really enjoying it. I grew up in California. I thought I knew a thing or two about California, and I was continually amazed by all that I didn't know and all that I learned about the history of the state and the history of the Bay Area.
There was so much I didn't know about the California missions, the Native Americans, the Shelmont, Amerville, which is so close by. The different places in Berkeley I never knew, even though I lived there for many years. So I really enjoyed the California history class that I took.
The women's history class, there's actually two courses. There's the early period, which is more colonial up to Civil War, and then the second period takes place kind of overlapping the end of the Civil War until present day. And the second half of the women's history class, the part that I like about it is we sort of condense the early part and the latter part to try to make it relevant. So like in our class today, we talked about the women's suffrage movement, and we compared Alice Paul, for example, to Tarana Burke, the woman who created the #MeToo movement, and looked at different strategies and tools that made their movement successful, and also to make sure that it doesn't die. You know, how do you keep up the momentum for that? So I think students left class really gratified and thinking about being more active in the world today. So I try to make all my classes relevant and meaningful.